Tim Marshall is a British journalist, author and broadcaster, known for his analysis of developments in foreign news and international diplomacy. Marshall, formerly diplomatic editor and also foreign affairs editor for Sky News, is a guest commentator on world events for the BBC, Sky News and a guest presenter on LBC. He has written 4 books, including Prisoners of Geography, a New York Times bestseller and #1 Sunday Times bestseller, and 2016 release, Worth Dying For: The Power and Politics of Flags. Marshall is founder and editor of news web platform thefartandthe.com, a site for journalists, politicians, foreign affairs analysts and enthusiasts to share their views on world news events. Education. Marshall was educated at Prince Henry's Grammar School, a state-funded comprehensive school in the market town of Otley, near Leeds, West Yorkshire. Career. Marshall began his journalistic career reporting for LBC and was their Paris bureau correspondent for 3 years. He has also reported for the BBC and has written for a number of national newspapers. He was also the long-standing foreign affairs editor and then diplomatic editor for Sky News. During over 24 years at Sky News, Marshall reported from 30 countries and covered the events of 12 wars. He has reported from Europe, the United States, covering 3 U.S. presidential elections, and Asia, as well as from the field in Bosnia, Croatia and Serbia during the Balkan Wars of the 1990s. He spent the majority of the 1999 Kosovo crisis in Belgrade, where he was one of the few Western journalists who stayed on to report from one of the main targets of NATO bombing raids. He was in Kosovo on the day NATO troops advanced into Pristina. Marshall reported from the front line during the invasion of Afghanistan and spent time in Iraq, reporting on the country's transition to democracy. He has reported from Libya, Egypt, Syria and Tunisia during the uprisings across the Arab world. As Sky News Middle East correspondent, based in Jerusalem, he covered Israel's Gaza disengagement in August 2005. He was also Sky News Europe correspondent, heading up their Brussels News Bureau, and also regularly contributed to the channel's former World News Tonight international news bulletin, including as stand-in host. Marshall's blog, Foreign Matters, was shortlisted for the Orwell Prize 2010. In 2004 he was a finalist in the Royal Television Society's news event category for his Iraq War coverage. He won finalist certificates in 2007 for a report on the Mujahideen, and in 2004 for his documentary, The Desert Kingdom, which featured exclusive access to Crown Prince Abdullah and his palaces. One of his most notable moments on Sky News involved a 6-hour unbroken broadcast during the First Gulf War. He was the last journalist to interview Pakistan's Benazir Bhutto ahead of her return from exile and subsequent assassination. Marshall's book, Prisoners of Geography, was released in the UK in July 2015 and in the US in October 2015. He continues to broadcast, comment on foreign affairs and is a regular guest on BBC, Sky News and on Monocle 24 Radio's Midori House. He is the founder and editor of www.thefartandthe.com, launched in February 2015. The site analyses world events and has contributions from writers from the world of politics and journalism. Publications. Marshall has written 4 books. Worth Dying For: The Power and Politics of Flags is a book which covers the symbolism, culture and history behind the world's flags. Published by Elliott and Thompson. September 2016. Prisoners of Geography. July 2015. Is an international bestseller explaining how a country's geography affects their internal fortunes and international strategy. This book became the No. one Sunday Times bestseller, a New York Times bestseller, and during August 2016 was Waterstone's non-fiction book of the month, and No. 1 best-selling paperback. It made the MP's Summer 2015 reading list and received favorable reviews both internationally and in the UK, including in the Evening Standard and Newsweek. 30 Northern Beasant RDs, about the history of Britain's football chants. August 2014. Elliott and Thompson. The book was favorably reviewed in The Times, The Telegraph, The Sun and was Book of the Week in the Independent's sports section. It was dedicated to the memory of Sky News cameraman Mickey Dean, a longtime colleague and friend of Marshall's, who was shot dead in Cairo in August 2013. Shadow Play, documenting the downfall of Slobodan Milosevic and containing Marshall's account of his experiences during the Yugoslav wars. Tim Marshall on Twitter. The What and the Why.